You're listening to episode 14, where we chat with the constant consultant, the film fanatic, Gianluca Fiorelli. Humans and robots, welcome to WojCast. My name is Woj, founder of Quasi. Thanks for joining me today. I interview digital marketing and branding superstars to find out what it means to have empathy in digital. What is digital empathy anyway? Let's find out together. As always, I'm accompanied by my friend and associate, potentially superior artificial intelligence, Bobby Butt. What's new in the world of AI, Bobby?
Language watch. Since our last conversation with Gianluca, I realized that in the modern era, humans are made of words, at least equal to the flesh and bones wrapped around your consciousness. A greater part of your time is being spent in digital spaces that don't require bodies. As my AI continues to evolve, there will be little difference between human to human, bot to human, or bot to bot communication in those spaces, and I'm interested to see how we talk to each other in the future.
Communication is as revolutionary to our planet's development as the great trade routes of antiquity. Digital crossroads open up the possibility to develop connections, the likes the world has never seen. Words will be the bridge. And, as it so happens, our friend Gianluca studied philology at university, which deals with the structure, historical development, and relationships of a language or languages. These studies have helped him navigate keyword research and develop some tricks to speaking English.
I'll just give you an example. Yes, because I did humanistic studies when I was in university. One of the studies was philology, semiotics, semantics, language philosophy, and so on. But specifically from philology, is that you really learn how a word evolved from the original root to how we are using it now. And just to give you an example, I don't think I'm really good at speaking English, for instance. But I'm able to trick people. But with a trick that my father taught me, and it's really related to philology. I was saying, in English, just consider this. There are two kinds of words. You can use two different words for saying the same thing in English. You can use the one coming from a German root, which was the mainstream used by the people and so on, and the one coming from Latin.
Right.
Because of a Roman domination, because of a Norman domination, so they were speaking some sort of French. And that was usually the academic. So if you don't know what word to use, just consider what was the Latin root of the word. So for instance, it's not an academic word, but first street, for instance, is coming from stratum, which was road. Street word is synonym, they are synonym.
Right.
And so you can do it it's a way to understand how words are creating and composing themselves, and so how people were using the words. So if you're considering combining with semantics, with sociology and other studies, you can understand what words are better to use for certain kind of audience and what words are better to use for another kind of audience. So the better you use, the word, the better how words are created and are used together, the better is going to be the word. Because what we are saying is not that everything related to keywords and topical is just plain good natural language.
Yeah.
And good natural language is all about meaning.
Yeah.
And the meaning is about really knowing what the word means and what that its meaning evolved during the time.
Right.
So philology, especially when you're doing international SEO, is really of help because it's, for instance, for me, I don't know French, I'm not fluent in French, but thanks to my studies, I'm really able to read in French, to start doing a first level keyword research in French, and then passing it to local SEO in order to correct me or to make it to do a deeper analysis.
Yeah.
But doing so, you're going to, let's say, dominate the world. SEO work.
Europe can be a tricky place for an international SEO to broadly cover all countries with so many diverse languages.
For an Italian SEO and international SEO is the same because Italian is just Italian, it's just talking in Italy.
Yeah.
And Italy it's a rich market, but it's just one tiny market.
Yeah.
So since also before internet, all marketing was multilingual in Italy because of tourism, because of B2B industry, and so on. And now with internet, even more. So when I started doing SEO, my first job was an international SEO award because it was a small tourist portal, and it was in Italian, English, French, Spanish, and German. So I needed to target 5 different languages in 5 different countries.
Gianluca has also implemented literary theory into his work before, so there is plenty to learn from the writings of erudite continental thinkers for SEO as well.
They are really interesting to use because, the literary mode is also based on what we were talking before, archetypes. But it's interesting because obviously when we were talking about archetyping, okay, you can decide to be my brand is a wizard one. Okay, but how to develop a story? So the theory of genres, literary genres or movie genres, is so, let's say, buried in our psyche, in our way of thinking to everything. When we think, you're just a comedian, you're just sarcastic, you're a drama, this is melodrama. We think like this because we are, let's say, categorization. The human thinks in categories.
Yeah.
We categorize everything naturally. And the genres of literary modes substantially are a categorization how to narrate one.
Yeah.
So depending on what path you want to follow, usually choose one kind of story mode. Usually when it comes to brands, you are not going to a tragic literary mode, but you go usually to the comedian one, like using irony, or you can even choose parody. Right? For instance, what was the name of a site all based on cats?
Cats. Was that a cat has cheeseburger? No.
Yeah. Cheeseburger was essentially a parody of Flickr. It was a cat Flickr, funny cat Flickr.
True.
It started like this and then evolved to something else, but it was a parody. Usually, websites are using the irony, the comedy. The comedy literary mode is where the brand, the hero, which can be both at the same time the brand but also the user or the brand, it's on the same level.
Yeah.
So, but in the comedy usually something is happening that is making the hero torn apart from the society, and between brackets.
Yep.
And then he, like Frank Capra, but he is able to come back to overcome the difficulties and come back to the, let's say, dream society. So, for instance, in fashion, you are the hero, you are like me, but you are in your stranded moment because you are not using my clothes, you are not using my apparel.
Yes.
But if you start staying with me, you are going to overcome this difficulty because I'm making you see like a difficulty. Do not have my shoes, do not have my trouser, because you are not fashionable, you are not hipster. And so if you start following me, by my products, you are going to come back to this ideal society of hipsterism, of neo-traditional commons and something like this. All these other classifications made about fashion.
Yeah.
So obviously there are just few, let's say, areas where you can use really well tragic, like the drama. One are the first sector. The first sector is using drama really a lot for obvious reasons. And they are showing first sector is like Save the Children, all these kind of things.
So not-for-profit charities.
Yes,
yeah.
we call it in Spain because in Italy we call it first sector.
Okay.
Because it's not B2B, it's not B2C, it's
Right.
humanistic, human development.
Okay.
And so, for instance, that's why we see the classic photo of the little boy which is starving in Africa, something to make it really dramatic. And the other one is politics.
Politics.
In politics, you can use a lot. Okay, maybe in the campaign here in the United States, they are using parody a lot
Yeah.
with Trump and all the Trumpists.
And it's usually of the opposition.
Alec Baldwin is a comedic genius, but I'd like to see him in a drama again.
Yeah, but the dramas can be used,
Yeah.
especially when you have to, when it's coming to propaganda, the tragic modes are really the one used. So you are the heroes, you are fighting, it's epic.
Right.
Epic usually is the tragedy.
Google is investing very heavily in understanding not just user intent, but the meaning of content as well. We know that work from philosophers like Barthes, Derrida, and Lacan that almost every text has a multitude of valid interpretations. There may be unseen consequences, not just for SEOs, but anyone publishing content or performing searches if Google is creating a monopoly of meaning.
Well, I don't know if it's only Google, because if we want to think, for instance, in voice search, people is always talking about Google, but should really look after Bing, because Bing is Cortana, Bing is also Siri when Siri is searching something in the internet, and Bing is also Alexa, the Amazon, when Alexa is searching something in the internet. So I think that probably Bing has more information about word search than Google search. And I think it's, again, it's like the classic question, sometimes you can read in the web, you can read articles saying that because of Google people and because of internet people is becoming stupid.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a difficulty to start searching by themselves, taking information from many sources, just ask to Google, just ask Wikipedia, in order to receive an answer. Maybe yes, maybe we can have this kind of risk.
Yeah.
Who is controlling the game? Like, who is judging the judge? And maybe this is why maybe in the United States we should start understanding something which is really European, which is the fight against monopolies. Because in the diversity, you can find richness.
Yeah.
If you are going to have just a monopoly, you are going just to have one answer, one point of view.
Yeah.
Classic dictatorship, monarchy, cake eaters with the freedom to become isolated from reality.
It's like when you're in Facebook, because Facebook is showing you just your friends.
Yeah.
So you're thinking that all the people in the world are democratic or libertarian. And no. Many are not libertarian. Many are voting Le Pen in France or voting neo-Nazi parties in Germany.
Yeah. And it's just for people that have recently interacted with you anyway.
Exactly. The classic, the so-called social bubble.
Yes.
Which is also a search bubble because of the personalization of search.
Yes.
Google is always showing you what is supposed to you will like.
Yeah.
But in this sense, Google is not so extremistic like Facebook, Twitter, because Google, the algorithm always have something that show you something new that you weren't able to find.
Google Assistant is a tool in line with the, quote, I only search what I know and want, end quote, mentality.
I think that, coming back to why Google is investing so much in meaning, I think of it is also so much because we are going before it was mobile is going to surpass desktop searches. I think that now we are in the other kind of race when I think that quite soon in the future we are going to see voice search is surpassing type search because it's natural. It's going to be easier. We are going to have self-driving cars, so when we are driving, we are asking Google, show me how to go to something. Google, show me pizzeria here close.
Yeah.
Or it's becoming quite natural to something that was looking really stupid once, but it's becoming quite usual to see
Now there's a
people
conversation.
searching. Yeah.
Now there's a conversation happening.
So that's why Google needs to understand better what is the meaning of what people are searching. So right now I think that it's more like the real scope of semantics and artificial intelligence applied to language recognition is this, to understand what the water phrase reading means.
Yeah.
So because when we talk, we usually imply something. We don't speak as when we type. We don't say, I want to go to Rome. Okay, show me Rome, how to go there.
Yeah.
It's possible. So we imply many things. The next problem, the biggest problem that Google has, that I think is the next step, is what I call understanding the rhetoric. Because you can say a phrase with a tone of normal tone, so literally meaning what you are saying. But you can also pronounce that phrase ironically, sarcastically, and so on. The problem is Google is able to recognize the rhetoric beyond the phrase. That's why I talk about rhetoric, because rhetoric it's let's say a segmentation of semantics, semiotics, so that it's able to from the formal use of certain of words and group of words, you can understand the meaning behind how these words is used. These group of words are used. So that's why, and it's easier because semantics, rhetoric usually follows some rules, and rules are what Google is needing in order to understand. So that's why, coming back, I was really lucky to study all these things when I was in university. I also had a really good professor because I'm one of the few who can say that I had Umberto Eco for professor for semiotics.
How to use Google Assistant, and specifically figuring out how Google is interpreting our content and our queries, is essential to make sure we're optimizing for intent.
We are talking about, and we can see it also in somehow in evolution of sentences, like keyword explorer, for instance, a mod. It's that once it was really easy to write a good SEO code. It's just, okay, but the keyword in the title, the keyword in the H1, the keyword 2-3 times, the keyword in the answer text, and so on. But now we are seeing that if you're using the keyword in the answer text, both internal and external, you're going to be penalized. And so why, when we talk about meaning, it's talking about context. And when we talk about context in natural language, it's talking about using related entities. That's why everything entity search is so important and so connected to semantics. Semantic search. Because if we are talking about, for instance, Seattle, we are naturally going to talk about the Space Needle, the Pike Market, Broadway, Capitol Hill, the CEOs, and so on. If we were talking about Seattle, but not mentioning also all these other entities, surely we are going to have less opportunity to rank for all Seattle-related queries. That's why sometimes when we say long forms are working, or why? Yes, they are working because we want to be cynical, because people are sharing a lot and linking a lot of long form because so they look intelligent. But this is the cynical vision. But also because of long form usually is really dense talk, organized talk, right? Written text about something with all the related topics inside. So And usually the long form is formally really well organized. It's H1, H2, H3, H1, H2, H3. So there is also all the HTML semantic signal Google is able to pick up and to understand.
The importance of keywords, so a different weighting. I don't want to wait in vain for your keyword research.
That's why we can say that sometimes if your page is already ranking in the first page, and you simply have done a clean HTML using UL, OL, so the pointed, the numbered, using the H1, just really clean HTML, you can eventually pick up as a futuristic.
Yeah.
Because if you are giving them to Google a context, the words, and you're giving a structure context.
And also
a structure to this context word.
And the clues as to the relevance of topics that it might be related to by your internal links. So, with voice and semantic searches on the rise, according to Gianluca, there are not many new challenges for international SEO in particular.
I think that is more. I don't think that SEO is going to face really different challenges that it is facing right now. I think it's more a sensation of certainty that SEO can have, because when it was easy before, just I want to this page rank for pizzeria in Madrid. It was easy. I mean, you were just targeting the keyword. But now, reverse it is when people are using implied searches, coming from implied searches and coming from concatenated searches.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to say, okay, I want to have this page, especially targeting this keyword. Now you're starting to say, okay, I want this section of this page targeting this topic and all the related queries around this topic. It's not really something. This is also hard to explain to your clients.
Yeah.
Because the clients still have the mentality of, okay, I want these 10 keywords. Okay, whatever keywords you want, but especially this one. And it's true. I mean, you have to maintain this kind of philosophy because you have to still target the keyword, the only keywords. But then you have to know that if you are simply just create optimize for one keyword, for every page for one keyword, it's better to create a section that Google is going to consider as a logical entity about something.
In an influential recent Moz blog post, Gianluca mentioned he would look at patents as part of his next round of investigations. That was bound to turn up some interesting results.
I mean, you can find thousands of patents. First of all, we should always do a disclaimer before talking about patents. Patents are interesting in order to understand what Google may be able to do.
Yeah.
But until we are not able to, let's say, this patent is saying this, let's try to do an experiment in order to see if Google is doing this kind of things. We are never able to say that if Google is really applying what is written in the patent. Because we have to know that sometimes patents are written also in a defensive way in order to somehow prevent that others are going to patent something else. Something that is going to be useful for you.
Yeah.
Knowing how all the patents work, we know between Apple, Samsung, and Android, and somehow we know how much money is all about.
Yeah.
But said that, I consider that there are some patents that are really, really key, and not all of them are really new, because the reasonable surfer patent is not really new, but it was recently updated.
Okay.
And it's really interesting because it's telling you how Google considers that people are using different section of a web page. That's why footer links are less relevant than links in the the body, or the sidebar link are less relevant than other navigational links and so on.
Yeah.
Then there are a patent that I'm really bad to remember the long name of the patent, but it's talking about search entities. And I think it's really interesting because it's not search entities are not the classic entities we consider like the name of a planet, the name of person, of plant, and so on. Search entities are things that are related to the process of a query.
Right.
When people are doing a query, what queries they are doing during a search session, the dependence of the query with respect to geographical context, the historical search,
Right.
So on.
So kind of like behaviors almost, or
Yeah, this is really important because all these search entities are substantially telling Google how to really personalize search.
Yeah.
And I think that we are always talking about rank brain, all this stuff, but we always should never forget that personalized search is the real search.
When thinking about real search, you must always consider the behavior of the person behind the keyboard and all the different steps to take. Sometimes they'll do multiple searches or have multiple tabs open. They have a number of different inputs.
And then there is a third pattern, which is about watch time as a ranking factor. We usually talk about CTR. But CTR is nothing. People are then bouncing back. So the watch time, which usually is referred to physically to watch a video.
sorry, watch time?
But watching
No,
time
no.
is
I'm kidding.
no, but watch time.
This is
How
watch-
long someone is watching something.
Yeah.
And people usually thinking it is just related to video search or YouTube. But in the patent, if you read it, it's related to all kinds of topics. How
Scrolling.
much time is someone is taking for reading a page, a text, watching a video,
Yeah.
watching a video, to listen to a podcast. So that is the real engagement metric, but
Yeah.
more than the CTR. Because I remember at the Bounder, Natalina High was talking about the difference between a clickbait and a good piece of content,
Yeah.
a good title. A good title, and which is making you earning a big CTR, and a clickbait title, which is making you earn big CTR, which is really different between this and this. But this is going to respect the promise the title made. The clickbait, usually the content behind the clickbait, usually don't respect the promise made by the title. So people is going to make and bounce back. In the other case, people is going to stay and watch and read. So the real engagement metric, you want to choose one engagement metric. In analytics should be page on time, is using Google Tags, seeing if people is scrolling up until the end of a blog post or something.
Yeah.
More than just the hit.
Some of the patents Gianluca dug up, interestingly enough, had nothing to do with search.
Sometimes when you look at patterns, you can find sometimes more not direct about search, but maybe all of this kind of Google X kind of patterns or Facebook strange project.
Yeah.
So one was, I think one of the strange and more futuristic patterns I read was the one about the lens, contact lens, as a monitor contact lens.
As a monitor.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it can be, or maybe it would have been interesting to understand why Google built all the robotics companies, and just after a few years, they resold US robotics and so all of these things.
Outside of search, our lives are a constant evolution, a learning journey. For someone with so much knowledge, It was interesting to hear about what Gianluca felt was the most important thing he'd like to learn now.
I don't have something really that I would like to learn. Maybe I would have something that I would really restart doing again.
Yeah.
For instance, this is more private, personal facet part of me. One of my hobbies when I was young was to paint miniatures.
Okay.
And
Paint what? Sorry.
painting miniature.
Miniatures.
Yeah. Little soldier.
Like the Warhammer, those guys. Do you like?
No, you
little
take
soldiers?
you build the little soldiers with,
Okay.
and you start painting them. You can be, like the classic Warhammer figures, or can be
And make a
also the
diorama.
Roman figure soldiers and all.
Yeah.
It was something that I learned with my father. And since quite many years, because of the strange hours I do when working, because of my kids, and stuff, this is an hobby that I put on a side, and I would love to start back, because it's really interesting, because you have to be patient, you have to learn how to combine colors, so you have to think, but you have to know a technique, but you must be also creative in order to do things well. So
Yeah.
it's a really relaxing activity. I'm not a sporty guy, so I would never tell I want to learn how to scuba dive, some extreme sport, because I'm not that kind of person.
What will search be like in 2020? Will virtual reality and the Internet of Things impact our lives? For Gianluca, there will be no monumental changes in our lifetime.
I don't know. I think that too much fuss is all around these topics. And sincerely, also we could add also big data, another topic.
But there'll be a time where there'll be RFID chips on this. It's finished. Another one will be here already, and maybe in some ways the Internet of Things.
I don't know, but I think that people, especially in our field, is too much thinking in a Star Trek way. On the other hand, maybe because I read also a lot of steampunk and cyberpunk sci-fi novels, I know that maybe we are going to have a future where the tables, like you are saying, are going to advise the waiter that we have ended our beer, so to come back and ask, do you want another beer? But I also think that we are going to have a long period, passing period, where we will still find many bars with normal tables. We are not able to understand if we have our beer or not.
Yeah.
So I think that it's interesting also this kind of thing. But if we are considering that in 2020 we are going to see some sort of Blade Runner kind of future, I don't think so. I think that we are going to sincerely to see streetcar with wheels for a long time. For instance, instead of the one without wheels and automated cars, like in
I think
Minority Report.
Yeah.
What we are going to see, yes, talking about Minority Report, I think we are already there. It's all about related about advertising, and now advertising is going to target each one of us really personally.
Yeah.
So really iris reading, so recognition, and all these kind of things. That things are going to be interesting, and I think that that kind of things we could be able to do it already. But somehow, thankfully, legislation is not really allowing us to do all the things we could do right now, do all the things we have. So coming back to big data, to virtual reality, I think that we can see obviously some big use of that, especially of data because of understanding data mining and so on. But for instance, virtual reality, sincerely, I don't see that matter with heavier glasses on.
Yeah.
And neither I'm also in that kind of age where I lived in an analogical era, and now I'm living in the digital era. I'm not a old digital one, a native digital one. So for me, it too would be harder to not think about virtual reality as as an hobby, as a funny thing, as a new interesting way to play video games.
I think it's going to be a culture of convenience. I think the people who are already overweight are going to get more lazy and overweight, and the people who are into the health movement will get healthier. I think there are going to be conveniences for everyone. Hoverboards would solve all of these problems, but your offspring are not as self-sufficient. Unless we are talking about the road to YouTube stardom. Most of them have mastered that by the time they are about 8 years old.
Yeah, sure. But I think that I'm really lucky to have known what to be fully analogical means.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, let's say if all the things we are using are going to disappear for some reason, I still know how to think.
Yeah.
I think that my son or either my cousins, where they are totally digital, they would go into panic.
They would. They don't know how to survive.
Just imagine to put a millennial into the Amazonian forest without nothing.
I was going to
Let's
say,
see.
put them on Survivor or, some kind of
Maybe
shirt.
only if they went to the WojCast, maybe they can do something.
To take a page out of Gianluca's book, we'll finish with a question from a Proust questionnaire. WojCasters, feel free to weigh in on this one in the comments section. Bobbybot, if you please.
The question is, if not yourself, who would you be?
If it was a fictional character, I would like to be the protagonist of Time Travel or H.G. Wells.
Right.
Because that is something that I always like to do time travel.
Hey, thanks to everyone for tuning in, and a special thanks to Gianluca Fiorelli for all the insights and giving us an excuse to talk about terrifying sex bots. That doesn't happen every day. And thank you, Proust, for challenging our sense of self. Now Bobby's been programmed to be a quick learner, and it's time for Bobby to ask me a few questions that piqued his curiosity from the episode.
Just one question this time, Woj. If not yourself, who would you be?
Well, that's an easy one, Bobby. I want to be LeBron James for a day. Or maybe, Be Real from Cypress Hill. How about you, Bobbybot? If not yourself, who would you be?
I'd become Doc Brown from Back to the Future. The obvious reason is that I could time travel, have excellent mad scientist hair, and have a kid with a lifesavers vest do all the legwork while I science the day away.
Are you still obsessing about time travel? I might need to check your programming. I think you might be happier with a Zen-like connection to the present moment. Time travel might just be a myth after all, you know that, right?
As far as I know, Woj, I've already been to the past and we're living in an alternative reality. In my alternative timeline, I could have been a toaster, burning your toast constantly, angrily, vengefully.
Well, that's not going to earn you any empathy points this round, buddy. With the Internet of Things, it could still be a possibility, but you haven't earned a body just yet.
What are you, Woj? Chicken?
What did you say?
You heard me. I said, are you chicken?
Nobody. And I mean nobody calls me chicken. Thanks again, WojCasters. That's all the time we have for today. Tune in next week and listen to episode 15 with the Dolphin Whisperer, Marty Weintraub.
All of life is marketing, my friend.
It is true.
All of life is marketing. All of life is arbitrage. All of life is customer service.
And remember, look after each other online, because empathy is organic and you can't automate, do I really have to say it? Empathy!